Hey guys, it's Francis Hunt, the Market Sniper, coming at you, and this is history of some of my videos. In fact, for example, over here you can see oil, global property scream reset possibilities, highlighting the weakness in oil. Also spoken about tallow oil, how we expected it to fall, and it subsequently fell. Generally have been a big bear on the oil front. A big bear on the oil front. We had a couple of shares that we called as well. We looked at oil and the yield inversion when the yield was inverting and the effect that had on markets. So there's quite a bit in our history here that you can have a little peek at. There was also MPC, Marathon Petroleum Corp, a 20 times risk reward traded to the downside. Let's see if Francis can keep a YouTube under 5 minutes and give you a quick hit up on the oil market. Okay, so here we are, guys. We've been talking for a while about the weakness and saying technically this looks weak. And there's an element of structure here that we don't like, or we do like for the bear side, let's put it that way. I wouldn't want to hold and be an investor in oil. And as a result of that, but when we called it, we had recently just had, let's get the pen, a little bit of a move up there. We had the lovely drone narrative, you know, the Aramco drone narrative that saw oil gap up and then very quickly trade right back down. Then there were all sorts of other things, a little bit of a heating up of the Iran dispute to put some heat under oil, and Iran production might be lost to global production, and war could see, you know, a whole new level of demand and all of that. And they managed to pump this up to this point, just running the previous technical high point. And then having lost, I just had a technical stop that was pretty much there, very close. I don't typically put it where it's very obvious, but I'd had it close to this high, just run, and I was adamant that oil was probably going down, but I at a loss because the shares kept squeezing higher. I'm short a bunch of oil shares, some of which I've shared with you here, and then I jumped back in short once I saw how this was dying early on. I could see that the momentum was coming really back. Unfortunately, I didn't hold it long enough. I thought, well, it might start getting a bit of technical support. I made back losses with some change actually there, and I got out. I'm still short PAA. We've got a lot of things we're discussing in our premium area in and around energies generally, and we are short energies. And a number of folk might have thought, he wasn't right about that because it started to go up. But I will argue with you that in fact oil, and I've even suggested in a previous video that oil itself could trade in a single digit number. Yes, that's right. I never said it definitely shall. I never even said it's going to be the super highest probability, but I've suggested it's higher than most people currently give it scope to be. That's right. The probability that oil could trade in a single digit is higher than most people give it probability to be, and significantly lower oil prices than most people are prepared to imagine are more likely than most people realize. I taunted and tormented Aramco also. Those videos done largely. By the time those guys want to get out, trust me, they're getting out because the Rockefellers have got out of oil and they've got the new rigged game in sight, which is also part of all this whole green agenda. They are going for the throat. The control structures are going for the throat. You can tell Rockefeller money is no longer heavily invested, in my personal assessment, in terms of what I expect for oils and what's going on in there. And for that reason, I'll also take you for a run past, wait for it, the US oil. So let's get out of UK oil, especially when it's doing a funky draw like that. Hasn't noticed I've changed the time frame. We're going to look at US oil, and I'm going to highlight to you that actually we're at $50.51. We are 51 cents from trading back down into the $40 mark. And as I've suggested before, 29s and low ends of this falling mega macro wedge do remain distinctly possible. That would involve 20s, mid 20s even possible, but certainly upper 20s certainly possible, with the scope for a deeper dip also being in existence to a higher level. I'm not saying it's high probability, but it's many people would price that. zero point 0.1 that you would ever have something in single digits for oil. I'm just saying it's higher than you might imagine. Being 5%, 10%, or 15% isn't likely, but it's a whole bunch higher than 0.1. Okay, a couple other things that have been absolutely dire in and around oil. Well, let's talk about good old Rockefeller himself, having unbundled, been supposedly forced to unbundle his monopolies. We now have the likes of XOM Mobile smashing it through the floor at the moment. We had Tullow that we've given you, TLW, that is a gap down, and no, chaps, not every gap gets filled. Forget it. Have a look at that. How'd you like them apples? We drew that one for you. Big trade gap, and it will go lower. Yes, indeed. Tullow Oil. So we're reminding you of a lot of the key oil plays. I said I'm going to finish this clip before it turns 6 minutes. So I've got exactly 5 seconds, 10 seconds left to show you PAA and to show that in actual fact we are expecting below $4. Guys, that's oil. That's me. I'm finished in 5. Francis in 5. Bye for now.